What's up?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the FGs and Threes podcast. I'm Jaden Rogers. Joining me today, as always, are Ryan Martell and Alex Martell.
How's it going?
All right. Nice introduction, guys.
What's up, boys?
Let's get going. Let's get debating. I'm ready for this.
We're good. Okay. Well, there's not going to be much debating in the first little part because right now the NFL free agency has been heating up quite a bit. And we're going to start off with what we just learned today. It's the 14th of March today, and Aaron Jones is coming back for 4 years to Green Bay.
48 mil. 13 mil is guaranteed for Aaron Jones. I think this is probably the best deal he could have got with Green Bay. If he wanted more money, he could have obviously left, but I think he understands that Green Bay would be a very tough situation to leave from.
He knows it's a championship contender.
From that O-line to Aaron Rodgers being an MVP. If he wants to go money chasing, he could have went to Miami. He could have went to Buffalo, whatever.
Honestly, either of those would have worked out well too.
Does Buffalo
all of his options really
cap room
were
like
contenders,
that?
Except for the Texans.
Buffalo doesn't
Buffalo
have cap room like that. They don't.
I'm not sure. I think because they already signed a few people.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure, and they're gonna have to pay Josh in the next couple of years. So that's not happening. There's no way they go big on a running back like that when they're a pass-heavy offense now.
No, they did go with Singletary though. Singletary and Zach Moss were two great draft picks that really
Singletary's not good. I'm sorry. I've watched them all year.
He's a solid back.
He's a serviceable guy. He'll give you 500 a year as a starter.
He did. Yes, he did.
He was pathetic. Devin Singletary is pathetic. He had 150-yard rush in week 15.
It's more of a 1-2 punch.
It's more of a Zach Moss.
He can get short gains. He's not very good with,
Yeah, short. I could get short gains in the NFL too. Give me a 1-yard gain every play. I could do that. You kidding me? I could dive forward 1 yard every play. Give me a chance, Buffalo. Give me a chance.
Alex, you wouldn't know how to take a hit. Anyway, Aaron Jones definitely made the right decision staying in Green Bay. Probably his best situation. He doesn't have to learn a new playbook or anything. So,
this
is a great deal for both sides. He gets paid. He gets to stay in Green Bay. Everyone stays happy. So.
Yeah, this is good overall for Green Bay, in my opinion. I think they're going to go away from because 2 years ago they went when LaFleur got hired, they went to a very run-heavy offense, and everyone that started doubting Rodgers. Last year they kind of went back to passing more, but they also still kept the running game going. And Aaron Jones is, whether you like it or not, he's a top 6 or 7 back, arguably probably top 4 or so.
Because he can catch too.
Yeah, and he can catch.
It definitely works with the passing offense.
But he's also a bruiser. He can run over people as well. That's the thing. He's a different build. He's very, very unique in that sense. There's not many guys Kamara can run, but he's not a physical guy. Aaron Jones can run physical and can catch it out of the backfield. So this is a phenomenal move for Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in all, every way you look at it, and he didn't sign for all that much, $12 million a year. That's
not bad.
That's really nice.
For running back, for paying a running back, it's high.
Yeah, but he's one of the top guys.
But they're paying him exactly. They're paying him like he's a top 5 running back in the league. You could argue he is. Depends on who you're talking to. Me personally, I would probably put him at 5. So I think
I'd say he's top 7 at the least.
Yeah.
Everybody can agree he's top 10. He's up there. We all know he's up there.
Oh, easily top 10. There's no argument about that. 5, see what we get. But like I said, both good deals for both sides.
Now, we all knew Aaron Jones was coming back. Well, we're not really. We all knew, but it was most likely to happen.
Yeah, it was
two things that we
consensus that he was going to go back to Green Bay.
A few things that we didn't really predict was a J.J. Watt went over to the Cardinals. in a little bit of a surprise move, but not really surprised because he's back with D-Hop.
You know what?
A reunion.
I love this move for him. I love that he didn't go to like Buffalo or he didn't go to like Kansas City or Tampa in place of like
Pittsburgh.
Shaq Barrett.
Yeah.
I love that he's like, I believe in this team and I can take a team that's like right on the edge and I can push them over.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that mindset. He's going to bring such a different perspective for all these players with all the defensive player of the years that he has, all this experience. He's one of the top defensive players ever. Best player in the decade, if you ask me, for defense.
Because
he's phenomenal. Like I think that
their D-line, their
move.
D-line is getting old. They're getting older, but they're still performing at a high rate.
Man,
Chandler Jones is still playing great.
Him and Chandler Jones is going to be special.
And the rest of the defense, Buda Baker, if they bring Hassan Reddick back.
Hassan Reddick is walking. They said that they stopped communications with him. So he is going to walk. He's going to be in a new team. They could potentially bring in a new guy that could probably play a bit better. Or
that did open some space.
Or what I think they're going to do, I think they could go after a middle linebacker and move Isaiah Simmons right next to J.J. Watt, because Isaiah Simmons learning from J.J. Watt. Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, but Simmons is such a good reader of like the field. Like you need to play Simmons.
But imagine J.J. Watt teaching
play.
him about the pass rush too.
Simmons can play anything, but like I'd rather see Simmons in like that Derwin James role where he's like literally just doing what like the whole defense
they already
does what
have
they
a
do.
Derwin James on the team. His name's Buda Baker. They don't need another Derwin James role. They need a guy who can
But
get
they have
after
two
it.
guys that can do that.
Okay, but
they should just do whatever they like. Do whatever you want. That's what they should go out there.
Alex, this is why you're in Connecticut and not in the NFL, because you don't know what you're talking about. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Isaiah Simmons, he can do everything on the field, like you said. He can do everything.
Literally,
I think
at a high level.
Best, yes. What I think he can do best is get after the passer. And learning behind Chandler Jones and now J.J. Watt how to become a better pass rusher in the NFL, this is going to help him extremely. Not only just because of the names, but in the last decade, these are the two top sack leaders of our decade, Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, now on the same team. And it's funny because social media laughed at J.J. for going to the Cardinals saying, oh, he doesn't want to win.
Yeah, 8 and 8 and all that, but
I mean,
this trade or this move can move him past 8 and 8. This
can make them 14 and 2. This can make them the best team in NFC.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the money. There was 3 teams that offered him more money, and then there was another team that offered him the same amount of money. It was the Bills offered him more, the Colts offered him more, and I want to say the Browns offered him more. And then the Titans gave him the same contract the Cardinals did. So it's not like he's going out there chasing the bag. He's going out there because he believes in this Cardinals team. He believes in Kyler Murray. He literally sent a text message to Kyler Murray saying, I believe in you. He chose him over Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill,
Josh
Baker
Allen,
Mayfield, and Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, like that's controversial. Him over, I think.
Chose him over Aaron Rodgers because we all know he was looking at Green Bay. He chose him over whatever the Steelers.
He must really believe in Kyler then.
And it also
he also really believes in D-Hop too, because he knows Kyler's going to be throwing D-Hop, and he knows that's a good connection.
Well, he's already seen D-Hop. He knows what D-Hop's capable of.
Yeah. So he's also walking into a top 10 defense from last year. They were 4th in the league in sacks. So this is probably one of the best situations for him to go to right now. And I love the move. I think the Cardinals are going to be competitors in the NFC West. Not even the NFC West. I think they're going to be competing for the NFC title.
Yeah,
I think so too.
These guys could be Super Bowl contenders, but it all depends on what Kyler does year 3, if he can stay healthy, if the whole team can stay healthy, and what the front office does for these moves. Now, if I'm looking at the front office, you got some money left. Definitely bring back Larry Fitz. You got to see what he can do for one more year. I mean, he can still play. He's better than half the receivers in the NFL.
Did he retire? Did he officially retire?
Not
try to bring him back.
Larry Fitz says he wants to play for another 2 years.
All right. Yeah.
So I would definitely bring him back, especially now. This is probably the best team he's had around him since 08.
Because he's not. It's not like he's declining. The dude is.
Didn't they make an
playing.
NFC championship?
He's still doing pretty solid.
Didn't they make an NFC championship like 3-4 years ago?
2015 with Carson.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. How the hell did they do that?
Because they had a good defense.
Well, I think they got a better.
The Cardinals are really good
Palmer.
at keeping their defense strong. When someone leaves, they know how to fill that hole like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what they should do, just get more O-line, protect Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's what you should do.
Again. They got so many pieces out in Arizona. Maybe get a better running back in the draft. They have the 16th.
They have Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, because Kenyon made a
free
great choice with him because he doesn't cost much. They got him for a very, very small price.
Well, Kenyon Drake
for someone that had a breakout year as soon as he went with him.
Kenyon Drake is also a free agent.
You think they're going to bring him back?
Who's their pass-catching receiver?
If I'm looking at the draft right now, pass-catching who? What?
Receiver. Who's their not receiver? Pass-catching back. They have a pass-catching guy.
Edmonds. I like Chase Edmonds.
I like Edmonds. So they need to get a bruiser. They need a guy that can run in between the tackles.
If I'm looking at the drafts right now, and I'm looking at Kenyon Drake, whether I should re-sign Kenyon Drake or look at the draft, there's two obvious studs sitting there. That's 16 for them. That's obviously Najee Harris and Travis Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and that's actually partially due to the media because the media always really, really hypes up the quarterbacks. And very few posts are talking about running backs, which leave them a much bigger chance to grab them later in the round.
For sure. I was going to say that Etienne could honestly end up being like, if Trevor Lawrence ends up being what he's being, like what he's supposed to, okay, then, there's no chance. Etienne could end up being the second best player in this draft. Etienne has that type of potential.
Mm-hmm.
Etienne could literally be like the next like Barkley type.
Are you
forgetting if you've ever watched him, he's unbelievable.
Are you forgetting about Kyle Pitts?
I think he could be better than Pitts at his peak.
Okay.
I think he could be like a top 3 back in this league. If he ends up I think he could end up like Kamara.
Well, Travis Etienne, he's the one of the 2 running backs I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Definite playmaker. I mean, he's the ACC all-time rushing record holder now. And
I feel that's a lot harder than breaking any passing records in like college football because you see like every 2 years those records are broken, but it takes a long time for any running back records to be broken.
Yeah, especially since this hasn't been broken since the early 2000s or late 90s. I forget who it was that originally held it, but Etienne broke it halfway through the season, and he's just a monster. We saw him obviously at Clemson. People are gonna be like, "Oh, well, he had Trevor Lawrence throwing," but Trevor Lawrence wasn't telling him how to maneuver through the tackles or anything like that.
Yeah,
that was all him. And people could say that Etienne's probably better than Lawrence. You really could say that. Etienne dominated the league or dominated the conference his freshman year, him and Lawrence side by side.
Because people like to give Trevor Lawrence credit for the things that all of his teammates do, but really give Etienne any good quarterback, he's probably going to be able to produce the same amount.
Without Etienne, Lawrence doesn't get those wide open play action passes downfield. So Etienne was a bigger factor than we all think. So Etienne is definitely a threat that could.
He's going to be a vital asset for any offense he goes on.
If it's not him, then you're looking at Najee Harris, who we literally saw hurdle a 6-foot linebacker in the college football semifinal.
Mm-hmm.
So that was utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, if you want a 6'3", 250-pound guy who can hurdle a 6-foot linebacker, then there's your guy at Najee Harris. That's all I think. That's all I have to say to him. He was 5th in Heisman this year.
Listen, if I'm Arizona,
he runs
though,
like Derrick Henry. I don't know what else I got to say. Najee Harris is just a dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, if I'm Arizona right now and I'm sitting down looking at the books, looking at everything I have, I'm taking O-line because your first priority, you need to be able to keep Kyler Murray healthy. That is the number one priority. That's going to be the guy leading you to a championship. I'm taking O-line first. And then after that, I'd probably either take like a second or third round running back, or I would re-sign Kenyon Drake depending on how much he's asking for. But I would go O-line, and I would take multiple O-line, matter of fact. I would take multiple O-line in this draft because you need more guys that can like just protect Kyler.
Would you do it in the first round though? Because we know
would.
Sewell would probably be
Sewell's going to be gone.
Yeah, he's going to be taken pretty early.
He's going to be top 3, I think.
Probably.
That's like what consensus.
So maybe like
right
you
now.
wait a little later in the draft, like maybe second or third round, to find a sort of down in the rough.
I would get multiple linemen because you need these guys, and then you don't have to worry about it in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you get these guys that are your cornerstone linemen, then you don't need to do it in the next couple of years. But they need to do that right now to make sure everything's everyone stays healthy.
If anything,
Kyler, this whole thing.
What I think is like I just go like a little like bit of Madden, like owner league kind of thing. And just trade next year's first round for something this year, maybe like a second or third, or like a first and fourth this year, like a later round pick, and try to get a few like old linemen in the first round, and then start going a little, because if you really stock up this year, you might not need another first round pick next year.
You would trade,
because they have a pretty complete team right now.
You would trade next year's first for a third round pick.
No, like a first and third or a second and third, multiple picks.
You would get a first for a first round pick. You want to just get.
Well, I was thinking like a couple seconds or like something like that. Someone who has real like a lot of.
What I'm thinking, they need tackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals need tackles. And obviously the two best tackles in the draft are Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell. And I expect those guys to go top 10. I don't expect Slater to drop past the Cowboys at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm looking at the Cardinals, you're like, okay, well, this is a very loaded tackle and guard draft. Like later round, there's a couple guys that you can get in the fourth round and they'll be studs. So what I'm thinking is that they go for that position in the first round that like will take him over the top at, let's say, corner or running back, and then later on they take those D tackles and those offensive line.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. Because if you can save money by getting ETN and letting Kenyon Drake go, and then use that money to bring in a couple more free agents, that might also help your line.
Exactly. I mean, they're still trying to re-sign Pat Pete to make sure he can get himself back in Arizona.
Yeah.
They just re-signed Robert Alford to a cheaper deal. They cut him and re-signed him. So
that's good.
The Cardinals are trying to make moves, but we'll see if they all work out in the end.
Their team is slowly becoming more and more complete.
Yeah,
they have at least one stud at each position right now.
Well, the thing I'm most concerned about with the Cardinals is Cliff Kingsbury. Is he a legit coach? But because
we'll find out this year.
We'll find out this year.
Sometimes it's hard to tell with coaches that come straight from college, because you see these high scoring games in college, coaches that like easily take teams to 50-point wins over like nobody colleges.
But
then they go into the NFL and you're facing amazing teams every single week. It's not going to be the same thing as college.
Exactly.
Well, the thing with Cliff Kingsbury and why he was such a question mark to begin with is that he wasn't a dominant college coach at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
All he had was Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that was his main selling point.
He had Baker Mayfield. And then when Patrick Mahomes came, he transferred and all that. But I mean, he helped create Patrick Mahomes, and people were like, "Oh, well, he's the man who made Patrick Mahomes." After 1 year in the NFL,
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
man made a name for himself, and he really got a lot of hype because he was with Patrick.
Exactly. I've always been skeptical of Cliff. Last year's roster, I think, should have made the playoffs. They didn't. Kind of choked it at the end.
Yeah, they had a really
So
bad
this
last
is
few weeks.
for me. This is a prove it year. If they don't make the playoffs this year, you gotta fire him.
Oh yeah, you gotta get rid of them if they don't make the playoffs this year.
Especially
They're
with
in
the
perfect position
That's
to not only make the playoffs, but they could win their division easily this year, and that's the best
Well,
division in football.
well,
Mhm.
not
And
easily.
that's
I mean,
why
they
I'm
still
also
gotta face
skeptical
the
about
Rams.
Urban Meyer, because he coached a school. You have 5-star recruits coming in every single year, more and more and more. So you really wonder, is it him doing a good job coaching, or is it all these absolutely amazing talents coming in and just performing incredibly well against lesser teams?
That's what you got to find out, and that's
That's
the risk
the
that they
biggest
got to
risk
take with
about
these
college
college
coaches.
coaches. That's the risk. That's why I think you've seen a big difference in recent years where instead of hiring these college guys, they're like, hey, Belichick's tree, let's hire them.
Mhm.
You know,
There have been a much more assistant coach hires
yes, and
than
you see
college
that even
hires.
more than that. Joe Judge, the guy in New York, he's done a great job with the Giants. He was like a receivers coach, wasn't he, or special teams or something like that?
Yeah.
Special teams coach.
Special teams, yeah. I mean, you're seeing a lot more guys that came up through the NFL and got their ranks through that, rather than I made it to the pinnacle of college and now I'm gonna transfer to the NFL, because it's not always transferable.
Like it was Saleh, right? That's now the coach of the Jets.
Right.
Came from a assistant coach position in San Fran, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's
You're
a much
seeing a lot
safer
more
bet
of
to
those.
take a assistant coach these days,
Yeah,
because
I
you
think,
actually see what they're doing in the NFL, and it really
Yeah, I
helps.
think in college coaches, you're either going to get a hit or a miss. You're either going to get a guy who's going to absolutely change the organization, or he's just going to be terrible. With assistant
Mhm.
coaches, you're probably going to go 8-8. I feel like that's a lot safer. And then if you have a good roster, you'll go 10-6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot safer.
Ryan's been
bet
real
because-
silent since I mentioned Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let y'all talk about your nonsense here.
What, you think Urban Meyer is going to be the next coming of Belichick or something?
I didn't say that. You said that. You just said it. So I mean,
You got you
it's
there.
okay. Anyway, Dak Prescott. Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, we'll go right to Dak. We have a few
Yeah.
quarterbacks to talk
What
about.
y'all think about that? I want to hear
But
your opinion.
Is he even the
yeah, let's
best
take a moment
quarterback
of
in the
reflection
division?
to really soak that deal in, because that was a really
I
big
want to
deal.
hear.
And I think it
I want to
might
hear
have been
your
too big of a
opinions
deal.
on it. I want to hear your opinions on it before I share them.
Do you want to go first, Jaden, or do you want me to go?
I feel like Ryan should actually open this. Go right in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Dak Prescott took Jerry Jones and said, "You saw the team. You saw the offense before I was injured. Then you saw the offense after I was injured.
There wasn't much of a
Give me
difference.
Give me 40 mil. Give me $40 million." And Jerry Jones said, "Okay." But
He has the money.
here's the thing. I like the contract. I'm one of the few people who like this contract because I do believe in Dak Prescott. I think the Cowboys with Dak Prescott, they become a real threat. Now, with the roster constructed now, I wouldn't say they're a Super Bowl contender.
Not at all.
Because
Not
really,
even close.
they thought they had it in like 2016, 2017 when they brought over Amari. They drafted Zeke. Well, 2018 too with Amari when they brought in Zeke.
Well,
But
they
then
brought in Amari.
now Amari's still good.
Amari's still good.
Zeke has
Zeke's on the
declined
Mike
quite a bit.
McCarthy diet. He's on the Mike McCarthy diet. He's on the Eddie Lacy diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zeke isn't good without an O-line. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they gotta definitely look at the O-line this offseason. That's probably the number one. Well, number two, because they gotta fix that defense too.
Yeah.
But they do
Anything
have
on
a new
defense,
D-line.
any good thing on defense would be a blessing for them.
You need a defense and an O-line. These guys
They
are
have
a
a new-
long way from contending.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You need
They
a
have a new
defense and an O-line.
They have
That's
a
why I
new
think the
D
contract was a
coordinator.
little too much, because they have so much more to fix.
Yeah, they have
They
a
dumped
lot
all the
more
money
to
over to
fix.
Dak.
They have a new D coordinator coming in, so They hopefully he'll actually know how to use his team, because for as much as the Cowboys played horrible last year in defense, they still got playmakers over there. They got Leighton Van Der Esch, they got Jalen Smith, they got DeMarcus Lawrence. Trayvon Diggs was just a rookie last year, and so they still got a lot of ballers on that defense.
Do they have a new D coordinator?
Yeah, they do.
They do have a new D
Okay,
coordinator.
so yeah, that might fix everything. You never know, because they
So-
have the names. They just didn't play up to par.
Wasn't Jalen Smith injured last year, or was that the year before?
He was injured the year before. They both played last year.
He was still coming back from the injury last
Well,
year.
Van Der Esch was injured last year too.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of injuries on that defense, but there was also a lot of bad defensive play call, defensive scheme, stuff like that you can't really help until the end of the year. So they fired him, or I think they demoted him. I don't think they fired him, Mike Nolan. I'm not too sure, but they were just like, okay, we need a new D coordinator. They got Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is proven. He's a proven head coach in the NFL. Yes, 28-3 happened, but I blame that more on Kyle Shanahan more than I do blaming it on Dan Quinn. So, I mean, with Dak Prescott, this offense becomes top 10 automatically.
Yeah.
And it's the second year under this new system, so people are going to get more comfortable. They still got targets like CeeDee Lamb, Blake Jarwin, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Dalton
Gallup
Schultz.
get re-signed?
Gallup did get re-signed.
How much did they re-sign him
Or
for?
he has like one more year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think his rookie contract was up.
So they still have a lot of studs on offense. Dak Prescott
for
definitely
sure.
makes us a better team. I think going back to the contract now, the Cowboys planned it out, or they paid him like he's the top guy in the league. Because technically his contract is saying that I'm the second best QB in the league right now. Now, would you say he's the second best QB in the league? I think that's a consensus no for all of us.
Yeah, no.
Not even
But could you
close.
argue
Not even
he's
close.
top 10? Could you argue he's top 10?
No.
I would make that argument
No.
he's top 10.
Maybe lower 10s, but maybe top 10.
Is he better
Yeah.
than Stafford?
I think so.
I honestly don't, because Stafford is one of those players that he's just consistent throughout his entire career.
I'd rather
He's put up
have
great numbers
Stafford
every year.
on the Rams than Dak on the Rams.
I mean, I would too, because Dak doesn't fit what they're trying to do.
I know, but
Remember
I'm saying, like,
Stafford on the
Matthew
Rams
Stafford
now.
very-
That's- like he has many more weapons than he did on the Lions.
Well, it's not that he has more weapons in Detroit. It's just that he has a better team around him than in
Mhm.
Detroit, and a better coaching staff, and players who actually want to play for a Super Bowl, not players who are just trying to compete for a check. So that's the Matthew Stafford situation is different than Dak, though. I mean, I'm a big fan of that contract. I'm happy Dak got paid. He definitely deserved to get paid. And now he's gonna come this year and he's gonna show people why he got paid.
Yeah, he's coming
1 and
out,
2 in the
especially with all the
playoffs.
the bad
Because
press he's been getting with the contract.
I
He's gonna come out and
honestly-
try to prove something.
I honestly didn't think he was gonna stay with the Cowboys. I thought he was gonna leave in free agency.
It was looking like that for a while.
Yeah,
It
I was
looking like that.
I
I really
gonna
did
say,
not.
yeah,
Yep.
it definitely looks like he was out the door. He had like 1 foot out, 1 foot in,
Mhm.
I think, for a while there. But luckily,
this-
Jerry got it done for them.
This move says that he wants to be a Cowboy for life, and I mean he's not a bad QB.
No, not at all.
That will take all the media attention from being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. So I think he
Mhm.
likes the limelight, and he's going to show people next year why. And as of right now, I will take the Cowboys winning that division.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see what happens with Washington first,
Yeah.
because
So,
they have a stellar defense.
Until
Terry
they get a
McSorley.
quarterback, I got to take the Cowboys over the football team.
Yeah. But before we end the football segment, we got a couple other quarterbacks that made a bit of a splash. Cam Newton is coming back on a 1-year deal, I believe, right?
I like that move for the Patriots.
1 year, 14
I'll say
mil.
it.
1 year, 14 mil.
I don't
He
think
knows
you
the
can
playbook
justify.
now. He's got a little more
Well-
comfortable. I think it might be a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think you can justify the amount of money, like 13 million. Like who in their right mind paid Cam Newton 13 million, right? But at the same time, I think that it was a good choice to take him back because after COVID he really wasn't the same, but he had he had flashes of his old self and even better than his old self at times. But then there was times where it was the lowest of the lows and he looked like the worst QB in the league. So we're taking a chance here, but I think it's gonna work out in the end. I think we're gonna end up going like 10-6 and we're gonna make the playoffs.
We have a lot of people back too. A lot of people
Yeah,
that took
and
the
we're
year
getting
off
back our
last year. Our
defense. Like,
defense is
that's a
getting
huge
rebolstered.
thing.
We got Chung back.
Yeah.
We got Hightower back. We're getting a
these
lot
are
of our
these are
people back.
playmakers.
Yeah.
And then we're going to draft offense this year, it looks like. So
Hopefully.
yeah, I mean, I think we're in a really good position
Because
actually.
Cam has some new protection now too.
Yeah, I think
he lost some and then gained some.
I think last year was like a gap year almost. Like we were
Yeah,
kind of just
basically.
like, and we didn't even do that bad. What did we end up 7-9?
7-9.
Yeah, we still
Yeah.
did decent.
That's
Them
not terrible.
re-signing Cam tells me two things. One, Bill Belichick believes in Cam Newton, thinks he's the best quarterback in the free agency market right now. And two, Cam still has a lot of talent left in him. That's what this tells me. But then again, this is a prove-it deal. Cam Newton can't just be like, okay, I got paid. Now it's time to relax. Now he's going to go out there. He's got to make the playoffs or else he's not coming back another year. Belichick,
For sure.
he understood what happened last year. Most of his defense was gone. No targets. They're going to fix that this offseason. I guarantee the Patriots only draft tight end and wide receiver because that's all they need.
That's what we need.
They already traded for their O-line, and they're trading
I think
away other O-line.
N'Keal Harry is actually is probably going to be walking too.
N'Keal Harry's on the trade block, but
Yeah.
if he's not on the trade, if he doesn't get traded, then he'll be another target for him. But I totally expect the Patriots just to take straight wide receiver and tight end because they need new targets. They need bigger targets. They need people who can catch the ball, and they need.
For sure.
They just need people.
Because really, last year was a lot of catching from the running backs.
Yeah, and
There was a lot of
not
that.
gonna-
And
that's
not
not
as much.
that's not going to work for football, modern football.
Yeah, for the
Especially
pass
with
happy
Cam
league.
Newton and what he can do, that's not going to work.
For sure. Yeah, Cam Newton is definitely he's capable of being one of the better quarterbacks in this league. I think he could be a top 15 guy for us if put in the right circumstance. I think he could be a fringe top 10 guy. And I mean that. I still think he has that in him.
Mhm.
But let's see if he could put it together because he could also be a bottom 5 quarterback like he was last year.
So on to the NBA now. We saw Blake Griffin took the big 3 and made it into a big 4, along with a now reunited with the Lob City Clippers. They got That's got a full starting lineup, but not a full roster.
It's Lob City 2.0. Just watch
Mhm.
out. The amount of
I
dumps
don't
that
know.
would have happened from DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
It's funny, but this is all what we want to do to
The
stop
Wolves are only
LeBron.
going to end them layups now.
And
Yeah, this is
We're
all
nuts.
in an effort to stop a 36-year-old LeBron. That's the
Okay.
crazy
And-
From the
part.
Instagram
In the
comments.
grand
crazy
scheme
part-
of things, this is to stop a 36-year-old man or 35, I think.
And the craziest
36.
part is that he's still going to go to 7 games with him.
Probably.
Like this whole roster is built to just stop LeBron, and then LeBron's going to be like, "I'll take you to 7."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and AD might be the best player on the court when LeBron's not on the court. He might be better than KD. There's a lot of people that think AD is the second best player in the league. So why are you saying that or looking at me like that? Because he's the best
AD.
defender in
They
the
wouldn't
league.
say anything.
AD's the
I
best
wasn't saying
defender in the league, and he's also like a top 5 offensive player.
Are we
So
forgetting
there's an
about
argument there
Harden?
that AD is better than
Are we-
Kawhi, better than
Are we
Durant,
forgetting
better
about the
than Curry.
playmaking of Harden? Harden's defense has definitely stepped up in the last 2 years, and then he's just the best offensive threat out there.
Not
So you're
better than
telling me
KD.
that
Not better than KD.
you could say he's better than KD.
But we
Harden
go
is
back
not
to the
better than
argument
KD.
that there are too many scorers on the Nets. to the point
But I
where
don't
like
think we've had that problem at all this year, though. Because James
well,
Harden,
when you face
he
the
doesn't-
Lakers, it might become a little more prominent
Yeah.
I don't.
because you're going
I
to have
don't
AD.
think so.
You're going to have some good big men against DeAndre Jordan and 33-year-old Blake Griffin.
Well,
Yeah, and Blake
first,
Maybe a
Griffin
little
DeAndre
is
Jordan.
outpowered there.
Don't kid yourself.
First of all-
Blake Griffin is not starting on this team.
He'll start against the Lakers.
No, he won't.
DeAndre Jordan will not be.
No, he
playing.
won't.
He won't. Yes.
You think
DeAndre
Blake Griffin's going
Jordan's
to start at
starting.
center?
Blake Griffin's coming off the bench.
Against Anthony
Joe
Davis,
Harris
I would
is
rather-
starting.
Yeah, I know that. But against Anthony Davis, I would rather have Blake Griffin than DeAndre Jordan. And here's my reason. He doesn't have to focus on offense anymore. He's been focusing on offense since he's been at college at Oklahoma. That's all he's been known for. Am I correct on this?
Yes. Let's
Yeah, his
hear this
dunking, he's
absolute-
developed a three-pointer. So yeah,
So
definitely his
listen,
offense now.
he's always been a solid defender. It just
That's not
gets
true.
outweighed.
That's not
He's always
true.
been solid.
That's not
He's
true.
always been a.
That is not true.
Can you let me talk there? Can you let me talk
But it's
there?
not true.
Yeah,
But it is.
I want to hear this out.
It is true. He's always been a solid defender in the NBA, and that was with all the offense he had to focus on. Going to this team now, he is maybe the fifth option on the floor if he was a starting five of Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Joe Harris, KD, and him. If that's the starting five, he would probably be the fifth option in my eyes. So he's sitting there saying, I'm not going to be a part of this offense. Why don't I just use all my effort on defense? And in offense, all he has to do is sit in the corner while Kyrie, James, and KD play iso ball. And then once in a while, they'll pass it out to him, and he'll take that shot. And he's improved this 3-game enough where he can make that pretty consistently.
Okay, are you done
So-
spitting this
But, like,
absolute just disgustingness?
Maybe not against Lakers.
I
but
please-
you got to
can I-
remember, it's the main problem with the Nets is that there's no bench.
Ugh.
There's going to be zero bench.
Yeah, okay.
So
Listen
when-
here. Let
when
me
the-
let me
when
let me give you
KD,
guys a reality check,
James,
okay? Here's what's gonna happen.
Kyrie go out.
No, stop it. Let me give you guys a reality check. Blake Griffin is shooting 30% from three in the last 2 years. He is injured almost every single game he plays. He is not a factor on the court, and the only time he is a factor, he's a good offensive player and a minus defensive player. How the hell does he help the Brooklyn Nets?
He's an
Popularity.
I mean, Alex
hasn't
just
dunked
salted
in
that
2
we
years.
suck
Morale.
at-
He hasn't
Alex-
dunked in 2 years.
That's fine. I'm fine with that because the first game he plays, he's going to dunk. And when he dunks, you're going to look at me like this. You're going to go, and I'm
You
going
can
to be
jump that high?
like, no. And then you're going to see the Nets roll over the Celtics round one because the Celtics are garbage this year. No center, no garbage. We're going to roll over the Celtics in 4 games. 4 games. And
That's
we're gonna
cap.
walk our way
That's
through
cap.
that East, through that sorry East because Joel Embiid's injured now. So we'll get to that because that was for later, but we'll get to that. Joel
Joel
injured.
Embiid is
They got
eating
no
you
shot
guys
now.
alive.
East is really sorry,
the
ain't it?
Sixers
Well,
might beat the Nets.
Yeah, he could eat us on the bench. That's fine. He could eat us all he wants on the bench because he can't fucking move. Excuse my language.
That's just not true. That's just not true.
He's not
okay?
healthy. He just this is gonna be a problem all year for Embiid. Like as much as I love Embiid, he's not gonna recover from a knee injury. Even if it's just what was like the final diagnosis?
Nothing.
Like,
There was no injury. He just bruised his knee.
Hyperextended.
bruised
It
knee.
looks like
It was a hyperextension. This is gonna be a problem going into the playoffs. I'm telling you.
it's 2 weeks.
I mean,
Tops. He
fine.
said that he's gonna be out.
okay, but
Just to be
these
safe.
2 weeks are
2 weeks to be safe. That's it.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. As much as I love Joel Embiid, and trust me, I've said plenty of times that he's the best center in the league, and right now he is the MVP of the league. I love watching Joel Embiid, but in the playoffs, this injury's gonna come back to bite them, and he's not going to be able to play every playoff game.
You
And when
sound
your
like
best
you're trying
player-
to convince yourself more than you're trying to convince everyone.
Deep.
Whatever. Still listening.
That was deep.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Listen here. You're telling me that I'm trying to convince myself that we're a legit team.
No, you're trying to convince yourself that Embiid won't be the same. I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, that's
won't.
exactly what I meant.
Oh, okay.
You misinterpret it. Okay, I'm fine now.
I thought you were trying to say like I still don't believe the Nets are a good team. But like we don't even need KD.
To beat the Lakers?
And away he goes.
To beat the Clippers? Dude, you guys wouldn't even beat the Celtics if freaking Brown and Kemba played decent.
Oh, that's the thing. They have to play decent.
Brown's garbage. Brown. Why is he an all-star? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, speaking of all-stars.
Yeah. Speaking of all-stars, slam dunk contest. Wow.
The slam dunk contest was absolutely terrible.
I was actually appalled that the slam dunk contest was just put on.
They couldn't even have 4 people, man. Come on, at least make it interesting.
We should have known when they were announcing the starters, and they said Cassius Stanley has never dunked in an NBA game.
Yeah.
That's when I should have been like, damn, this is really about to be horrible.
Yeah.
Like all together, those guys have probably like started like 10 games.
Not even.
Tops.
Those guys have not started one game.
Has Obi Toppin not started? Oh yeah, Julius Randle. No one started a game.
Did Obi Toppin ever start a game?
Yeah, I think he might have. At like center or small forward. Like I think he might have started. Can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was
no. Let's just put it that way. No.
None of those guys have
been there. It was an absolute disgrace. And what is this Taco Bell skills challenge? Like no one is ever gonna be like, yeah, I'm a skills challenge winner. Like why do they even do that? No one's happy.
I like the brand. Taco Bell. You know.
Oh yeah, Taco Bell is good. Yeah,
honestly,
I agree with that. But
this year's All-Star game felt very lackluster.
It did.
Last year they were like incredibly competitive. They were going at it with each other. This year felt like just another All-Star game.
Well,
we weren't like competing
because
for, like,
the teams were not.
It was just like, wide open.
Yeah, the teams were not even at all. One team had Jaylen Brown, and the other team didn't have Jaylen Brown.
Well, Jaylen Brown's team lost, bud.
No, they destroyed.
No.
Team KD. Team LeBron won.
Jaylen Brown was Team KD.
But it just didn't.
Jaylen Brown was on Team competitive. Underappreciated Brown.
Oh my God.
That's what Brown said. Jaylen underappreciated Brown.
Move your head, Alex. Show it. There it is.
Brown, Tatum.
Put on a sweater and leave. But it didn't feel right.
Yeah, it was really.
It felt like any other All-Star game because it just.
I was excited. I watched the whole thing, but it was like, man, like this is all right. Come on, let's get it going.
Yeah, especially compared to last year. Because last year, when they introduced that the new rules last year, it was very competitive. They were going at each other like it was a real game, and a win was on the line. This one, it just felt like they went right back to what they were like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think they wanted to, but like
dunks and
the teams were uneven though.
They really were, especially with all the injuries.
They were really uneven.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't even fair.
They were playing defense in the fourth quarter too, with the new Kobe rules and all that.
And why was Zion? Why was Zion starting? Someone tell me.
It really didn't go well.
Why the hell was Zion starting? Are you kidding me?
Because Embiid was injured. That's why.
Yeah, but what? Why is Zion starting?
Because Zion Williamson wants to have that GOAT status. He's the youngest player to start in an All-Star game. So, he's just.
They're trying to build this kid so much.
I thought Kobe still had
great,
that.
But
or what did he beat that?
Kobe. Actually, Kobe was younger. You're right.
Yeah, he still has that record.
I think Stockton, not Stockton.
John Stockton, at the ripe old age of 34, youngest player.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
You gonna try to wiki in it?
No.
Smile says everything.
Sorry.
Yeah, the skills,
running out.
the
Wait, wait,
3-point
so
challenge was pretty cool. That was a fun one.
Not for me.
Is this the first year that the Mountain Dew
No, that's been
balls
there.
were there?
terrible.
Was that last year?
Yeah,
My
Jason
Celtics were
Tatum, Jalen
terrible.
Brown, did terrible.
They were both
Terrible.
shit.
Yeah, they both shot
Like,
terribly.
They were
Terrible.
both awful.
No, because they're garbage.
Funny.
But you just don't want to listen.
But Curry just did not miss. He
Curry
could.
was just.
Even during the All-Star game, seeing him and Dame each put up, what was it, 9 3-pointers each?
There was more competition between him and Dame than there was against Team LeBron and Team Dame. Like it was just like it was bad.
They weren't showing off to anybody except each other.
I will say the All-Star game being on Sunday and being at like a pretty prime time spot on Sunday, I kind of like that instead of Saturday because people.
It's never been on Saturday. It's always been on Sunday.
The All-Star weekend started on Saturday with the dunk contest and all that, and then the game was Sunday.
Well, I just kind of like how they put everything into one day.
I agree with that, but I don't like that they put the dunk contest in the middle. I think that should have been its own thing at the beginning.
That was stupid.
Well, the dunk contest, like
when they put it in the middle, it feels like a halftime show that you go to at like a half-filled Knicks game with like someone juggling plates on a stick.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like a.
I'm imagining a clown on a unicycle, like da, 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 da. Like what's going on right now? Right.
Thank you for watching the second episode of Jeff Jason Threes. There he goes. It was good. It was a good episode. I'm glad everybody was here to enjoy it, and we'll be back. We're gonna sort of switch everything up. We're gonna switch up the way we release episodes. I'll announce that on our Twitter and Instagram, and we'll see you next week twice, from what it seems. And you'll get to know a little more about it.
It'll be a nice change.
Thank you everybody for watching. Have a good one.
See you.
See ya.